Alright guys, so today I'm going to be working on the air system on the truck. I'd like to start getting things plumbed in because I think I can pretty much get everything plumbed in right now. And then that'll be ready. One more thing that's going to be ready to go once the truck is running. I am changing a few things up. I decided instead of mounting the governor on the compressor like we had it before, I'm going to remote mount it. There's a couple of reasons why. Doing it this way, there'll be less lines running to the engine. One less line, but still less lines running to the engine. So I'm going to be putting it right back here. You can see we got it bolted up to the back of the toolbox there. I think that'll be a good spot for it. Kind of out of the way, but easy enough that I can get to it and adjust it if need be, or change it out if it goes bad. We also have a line already running over here that goes to a quick connect, so I can use compressed air to fill tires and whatnot. So we have tank pressure right there, and it'll be a quick short little piece of hose up to the air dryer for the unloader, and then from there up to the compressor to open the unloader valve. Hopefully simplify things, fewer lines, fewer connections, because I had a lot of like T's and stuff and it wasn't great. So we're gonna go ahead and start plumbing some things up. Check back in shortly. All right, so we're back working on the air system here, trying to get all that plumbed up and ready to go. We're changing a few things up. Like I said, we're relocating the governor. We're also going to be adding a few cool, I think they're kind of cool things. So what I think is like just cool about air is you don't realize how many different valves and like devices they make for air systems, and like what you can actually do with an air system on a vehicle. So we're adding a few other things. This here is a quick release air valve. So basically there is a diaphragm in there, and when you put air to there, it closes off that vent and puts pressure to the delivery side of this. And there's two outputs, we'll probably just plug one. But once you release that pressure coming here, this diaphragm opens up and expels all the air really quickly. So we'll mount this down by our brake canister, so that way when we set the brake, it goes psh. This is what'll make that noise. It'll let the air out of the canister quicker, and it'll set the brake a lot sooner. The other thing we are adding, this looked a lot smaller on eBay, but this is an air brake relay valve. Actually, I feel like I got a really good deal on this. I bought one of these for work one time, and it was for a Mack truck, and this one says Mack on it too, but it was like close to $400, and it didn't even come with the fittings. I think I paid like 40 bucks. Look at this, it came with all the fittings, plugs. This sucker's ready to go. But basically a relay valve is exactly what it sounds like. So this valve is going to be used for our train horn. As you all know, we have the train horn on here. We've got it on this pull valve here. And the issue is this pull valve is really meant for the smaller horns that go right up on your roof. On the big rigs, it's actually designed to like thread in or like go through the roof. That's how that valve is. And then the horns like somehow spin onto it or something, I don't know. But it's a restriction. And the horns that I have are like actual train horns. They require a lot of pressure and a lot of flow. So this right here is a little bit of a bottleneck. I ran 1/2-inch lines, but it was never super loud, and I think that's part of the reason why is it's just not getting enough air. This will fix that. Same kind of deal. There's a diaphragm inside of it. Hook tank pressure into the supply, and then I'll run one of these to each of the train horns. And then from our pull valve, this port here, that's basically like our control circuit. And as you put pressure to this, it opens that diaphragm and allows air to flow from the supply to the delivery. So it basically takes like a small, it's basically the same thing as like a electrical relay valve, where you're taking like a small circuit and doing big things with it, you know, high flow, high pressure. And we can put this right at the back near the train horns. That way they'll be getting full tank pressure, lots of volume. And what's nice about these is with the diaphragm in there, they're variable. So you'll still be able to use the pull cord, and it'll still kind of have that, you know, effect, you know, and that's really what we're going for with the pull chain. Honestly, looking at the listings, I thought that these were going to be the same size. I mean, I'm glad that this isn't like huge, but like that is freaking huge. Like I said, like there's probably $40 worth of fittings on this thing, you know, that was a score. We're also changing things up here in the cab. That's what I'm working on currently. So I bought a, I don't know how well you can see up in there, but I bought a air manifold. It has 2 1/2-inch ports and 8 3/8 ports. Last time I had a 3/8 line running from the tank that kind of just had T's everywhere that did everything else. So this time I ran a 1/2-inch line, and that'll feed into this manifold. And then from here, we'll tap off and go to our parking brake, venturi, gauge, train horn, whatever else we need. I kind of went overboard getting the 8 port. I think it's a little more than I needed. We can always put plugs in them, and it's always good to have extras. But you can see we also got the inside here of the cab dynomatted. Well, not dynomat, mat 66'd. Just doesn't sound as good. I had a lot of people comment on the video where I put the mat 66 on the firewall on the outside. Like, why didn't you put it inside? Because I was going to do both. You know, from the factory, you have that foam and rubber sound deadener, heat blanket, whatever you want to call it, on both sides. So basically, I'm trying to replicate that. Hopefully that helps with some of our sound. We did also plug like a ton of holes in this firewall. I think that that'll definitely help with the road noise, but it's probably still going to be noisy. But yeah, that's our air manifold. I had to build a bracket for it, and I just tapped off of these 2 bolts here that hold the Hydro Boost unit in, and yeah, just about ready to paint that, and then they'll be able to get this installed and start plumbing things into it. Well, as you can see back there, we got the quick release air valve all mounted up and plumbed into the air canister. So now that is done. I also got all the plumbing done up under the dash here. So you can see I have 4 extra ports there and then 1 on the side. We will be using at least 1 or 2 of those in the future. But for now, just put some plugs in them. I think this turned out pretty decent. Got my pull valve all re-plumbed with the smaller line. So now I need to work on running that back to the back of the truck. I need to get my air brake relay valve mounted up in here. And I think I'm going to build some sort of bracket so it'll mount upside down like that, right to the bottom of the bed. And then 1 line to each train horn, supply line here on the left, and then I'll have to turn that bottom fitting 90 degrees. Now, one issue that I do see, don't know for sure yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be an issue. The way that this works, there's a diaphragm in here, right, with a spring. Keeps it closed under normal conditions. When you apply pressure to this port here, it overcomes that spring, opens the diaphragm, lets air flow from your supply to your delivery. And the issue is with the foot brake valve, as you let the pedal up, that brake valve will release the pressure from the control side of this relay. My pull valve doesn't have any type of release, so I think what's going to happen is as soon as I pull the horn valve, this is going to load up with air, and it's just going to keep this relay on until the tank gets depleted, and then it'll close. So that could be an issue. I'm trying to figure out how I want to try and fix that. One thought that I had was to tee the control side into the delivery side. That way air would come into here and open this, but also have some coming out the delivery, but I don't think that's going to work. We'll probably lose too much air and it'll just go straight to the horns and it won't even open this. And another thought I have is drill a very small hole in this fitting. That's kind of like a bleed off hole, so that way it'll hold enough pressure in there when you're pulling on the pull chain to open the diaphragm. But as soon as you let up, the air is going to bleed off that hole. Might work, might not, I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go though. I'm going to set about making a bracket to hold this in there. All right, so we got the bracket all made up and got it painted. I was gonna add some gussets in here, but that's pretty thick metal, and that piece that the relay that bolts to it really isn't that heavy. I think this will be perfectly adequate. The way it all mounted up, it would have only been like a little bit, and then I was like, well, that's gonna trap, you know, dirt and water in there, and so it'll just be better without them. So while we're waiting for that to dry, I went ahead and got the lines all ran. This one's too short. I got to order some more of that 1/2 inch, but lines all ran, got it hooked up, and just like I mentioned earlier, the way I had it set up, you pulled the train horn and it would just start dumping all the air, and there was no way to shut it off. So I got out the smallest drill bit I had, which was a 1/16 of an inch, punched a little hole in there. So now when you pull it, it's a little bit of a lag when you let go, but it dumps a ton of air into those horns. And if I wanted less lag, put a bigger hole in it, but I think that'll be just fine. I haven't hooked the horns up yet because I did some practice, some target shooting this morning in my yard, and I'm still deaf in one ear because I was too stupid to put on earplugs. Yeah, the horns aren't hooked up, but and we're just using shop air right now because I don't have it running, so I can't use the engine-driven compressor. Yeah, if I need to, I can make that a little bit bigger, and then it'll close a lot faster, but you got to remember we're going to be losing pressure through that little hole. I think it's a 1-to-1 kind of deal. So if you put 10 pounds into here, it's going to open that diaphragm enough to allow 10 pounds to your delivery valve, you know? So with that little hole in there, we might be losing 20 PSI, but it's still going to flow way better than the old setup, hopefully. We'll know once we get it hooked up, see how loud they are. Yeah, hopefully that's dry soon and we can put this all back together and get it plumbed in for reals. Say, how you doing?
How you doing?
Say, open this, please.
Open, please.
Hold it up so they can grab onto it. All right, guys, so we got the whole air system all plumbed up. You can tell there's some other stuff going on here. I pulled the dash out for some of the wiring stuff, but we got the Venturi ran up under the dash, and I got it, you know, clamped in there. So if that ever needs to be replaced, we're gonna have to pull the dash out to do that. So everything's plumbed up. Hey, there's gonna be a quick noise, okay? But that's that quick release air valve, hard at work. Definitely applies the brakes a little bit quicker. And then if we come back here to the back of the truck, you can see the air horn valve all set up. Definitely wish I'd put some gussets on it. It's a little bit flimsy. It'll bounce a little bit going down the road, but shouldn't be a huge issue. Yeah, you dropped it. We know, we heard, and we saw. Keep a better hold on that there, Butterfingers. So yeah, that's all in and working. Emerson went inside because Daddy's gonna make some noise here in a couple minutes. You wanna make some noise? All right, why don't we go put your earmuffs on? We should probably put safety glasses on you too because they might freak out. Quit turning your head. There you go. You guys really didn't think I'd make this whole video and not show you what they sound like, right? You ready? Happy Memorial Day, everyone, and all my neighbors. Was that cool? You like the train horn? In all honesty, that wasn't my first time pulling the old chain there. I tried it out a few weeks ago when I got everything back together, and only one of the horns lit off. These horns, they're aluminum and stainless steel, and they get moisture up inside of them, and there's stainless steel diaphragms that have to they have to move and stuff, and you get some corrosion built up between the two, and then they don't. So, but they're, holy cow, they're way louder. The first time I pulled them, rust physically fell off the bed of the truck. So I think that they are definitely way louder than they were before. So mission accomplished. Air system is just about 100% complete. We got everything plumbed in, and I do have plans in the future when I get around to it. My transfer case, for whatever reason, I decided it'd be way cooler to do an air shifter. So now I've made that up in my head, and so we'll be using one of those ports. We'll put in some air switches, and we'll make some cylinders and stuff so that it'll use air pressure to turn the four-wheel drive on and off. But I definitely like this setup. It's a lot cleaner. I think it'll be more leak-free than what we had before because of this air manifold. Rather than having T's everywhere, we have all this stuff. I mean, just look how clean that line is, and you guys will be really impressed. Really impressed. Comes up through the air box right next to all the wires and stuff. It comes over in it. Look how clean that looks. It looks factory. We got one of these little strain relief waterproof thingies there. I saved that off of that old Louisville. I need to find some of this vacuum line though, because this one got kind of aged in the sun and just kind of broke, and this one I accidentally cut through at some point. So I gotta see if I can find some of that. I took the dash out for another video, but it's always kind of cool when you pull out a dashboard and all the stuff that drops out of it. So this dropped out. This was it's an erasable pen. That shows you how old it is. It says, "Own a racehorse. Bob McCauley Racing Stable. Be a winner." And that's got his phone number on it. So that's kind of cool. So I always knew this was a farm truck, but I don't know. I guess they were into horse racing. I don't know. Also found just about an entire pack of these. Here, these ring terminals. Also found the end of a box of Winchester 38 Special, 125 grain, Super X. See, that's pretty cool. So yeah, you never know what you're gonna find when you pull the dashboard out of an old vehicle. What the heck? Are you serious? Holy cow. Oh my gosh. Just pretend like we didn't see that. But anyways, guys, that's going to be a wrap on this video. We got the air system 100% done for now. What are you doing? Can you not hear yourself? What are you, deaf? I've been yelling your name. So yeah, I think this turned out pretty decent. I like the air relay valve. I think that'll work out much better for, when someone cuts you off, it won't sound as weak. Yeah, Daddy made a mess on the floor. If you're older, I'd make you clean it up for me.
Don't worry about it, Daddy.
Don't worry about it, Daddy. You heard it here first, folks.
Close.
Like a miniature version of her mother. Close it. So yeah, that'll be nice once we get the truck up and running. We won't have to worry about anything with the air system. It'll all just work. And yeah, we're working on some other things. You're getting kind of a sneak peek into the future, because I started filming this video 2 months ago. I think I cut it out of the video, but at the beginning I walked outside and it was covered in snow. I mean, would you just look at it? Just look at it. It's beautiful. Hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Hold on.
Hold on. Where did you get keys from anyways? You want to go inside? Can you say, "Honey, I'm home"?
Hi, home.
Say, "Honey, I'm home."
Honey, home.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're slowly making progress on this thing. We have other things going on. I've been kind of dragging my feet, partially because I'm lazy and partially just because, the next step is the transmission controller and the wiring. and I don't really want to get too ahead of things on the wiring and then have to like add things back in once we get the transmission controller and the transmission wiring harness. So we're working on that. So hopefully soon here we'll have something there. But yeah, things are happening. We're making progress. We're gonna end it off there. Oh geez, now I'm kind of curious if this thing's even loaded. There's really only one way to find that out, isn't there? That 7th one never goes off. Holy smokes, that thing was loaded.